Yeah, I know everybody's looking ahead to Friday and the NHL trade deadline. I want to look past it, but not much past it. Good morning to you. Good Tuesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates that I hope you'll take the time to check out. Penguins are in Denver tonight to face the Avalanche. They'll then travel to Las Vegas, and they'll then finish up the 3-game trip Sunday in St. Paul, Minnesota. I'll be covering that game against the Wild up there, and when I get there, by the time I get there, the deadline will have passed. And what I'm hoping for more than anything, even within the context of everything that could occur at the deadline, is just, start over. Create a couple of vacancies at the NHL level. Some of the names that have popped up in recent trade conversations aren't exactly the big sexy ones like Rickard Rakell. It's been Noel Acciari and Anthony Beauvillier. Okay, whatever. Clear out some space in Pittsburgh and begin the process of turning the page, and do so, most importantly, with players who have earned it. I don't want to hear anything about players needing to stay in Wilkes-Barre or for the betterment of the team down there or having a shot at the Calder Cup. I couldn't care less about an AHL championship. I actually don't really even care much about the concept that young players benefit from being part of it. No. If you have players who are exceeding that level or performing to the peak of that level, and their next individual challenge lies at the NHL level, get them up here. Get them up here. If it's just 20 games, get them up here. Let them make their mistakes. Let them get picked apart. Let them get a little bit embarrassed. Let them learn how to deal with a player flying at them with speed that they never could have imagined facing. And I've got two in mind. That doesn't mean it's only two, but I've got two definitives in mind. One is Ville Koivunen. The other is Owen Pickering. You know Pickering. You've seen Pickering. You, I would hope, have an appreciation for what he can be at the NHL level. Koivunen, of course, isn't known anywhere near as much, but this kid right now is the leading rookie scorer in the AHL. He's the leading scorer on the Wilkes-Barre Scranton team, and he's the 9th leading scorer in the league. Overall, not rookies, overall, 9th leading scorer in the league. 17 goals, 31 assists in 51 games, obviously a little bit shy of a point a game at 48 in 51. +4 for anybody who still pays attention to plus minus. Had a 4-goal game in January, was named the league's Rookie of the Month in January, has a 17.0 shooting percentage. That, for anybody who doesn't follow shooting percentages consistently, is very high. In fact, it's the kind of thing that doesn't stay high, or you don't want it to stay that high, because that also means you're not taking enough shots. Koivunen has 17 goals on 100 shots. He's got 100 shots in 51 games, which means he's only taking 2 a game, which isn't enough. But if you're going to take them sparsely, you might as well put them where they need to go. And he's done that. He's also shown enough of a toughness, a resilience for a guy who checks in at 6 feet, 172. And by the way, the most important stat of all, he's still 21 years old. He doesn't turn 22 until June. So the world is in front of him. He's a child in this sport. And all he's done to date this season down there is everything that's been asked of him and beyond. He has checked every box by every accounting, per every conversation that I've had with everyone in the organization. So get him up here. And in doing that, and in having Pickering up here, and maybe even one or two others, there might also be a little bit of a spiritual lift for the players still in that locker room, not least of whom is Sidney Crosby, the people who are paying to come to the games, and heck, even the coaching staff, if you think about it, because you have now an environment of, all right, this is who's going to be here. We're not just trying to coach up, I don't know, some random 31-year-old who got overpaid or something. We're trying to put this team into a position where it can compete in short order, in a faster span of time than most people would think is possible. That's a challenge. That's an invigorating challenge. People who are into coaching tend to be into instruction. That's how they get to be coaches. And I could see all of that becoming something that takes over. The other part of it is, if you set up a framework that says, hey, listen, the 2025-26 NHL season in Pittsburgh is just going to be a cluster and a half, because we're going to have all these kids up here and you're going to lose 50 to 60 games because there's no way to get these kids where they need to be without them going through some stuff. How about going through some stuff now? Now, when we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Brandon Nico, who says, DK, why does Mike Sullivan refuse to put Phil Tomasino on the second line? What am I missing here? The first thing you'd be missing, Brandon, is all the goals that Cody Glass could or should have. He creates chances for himself. He has a skill set that would appear to lean into at least the possibility that he could score, and yet he doesn't, including on some golden chances. Believe you me, that frustrates him infinitely more than it could frustrate anybody else, but it's still a thing. Tomasino, of course, scores with relative ease, I think you could say. Tomasino doesn't get that many chances. He did when he first got here from Nashville, was generating all kinds of offense consistently, and then was reduced to just getting a chance or two per game. But he's putting those away. So, yeah, you would think, all right, here's Evgeny Malkin, who is playing great, by the way, since coming out of the break and getting healthy after he missed those 6 games. And you've got Michael Bunting on the other side. You want someone on the right side who can finish as well. The problem with that is, and come on, you knew I was going to get to this, the head coach always wants to have one conscientious forward on each line. And with Glass, you get not only the right-handed face-off option to offset Gino, but you also get someone who is willing, eager, and heck, enthusiastic to get back and cover, allowing Gino and Bunting to do their thing. That's the answer. As Sullivan is always explaining, he has in his head pairings as his forwards. He doesn't see them as lines, except in, really unusual circumstances, like kind of, the first line right now. Otherwise, he's looking for 2 guys, not 3, 2 who really make sense together, and then the third one to basically take care of business, depending on the rest of the composition of that line. So I wouldn't read too much into it. Yeah, obviously, there was one point there where Sullivan had some issues with Tomasino and made him a healthy scratch. That message seemed to resonate pretty strongly with Tomasino. He kept smiling through the whole thing, but you could tell it was something that hit him. He didn't want to be that odd man out again now with a second team, the way he'd become with the Predators. And ironically, you know who he can look to as an example in that regard? That's right, the other guy who came here from the Predators. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody who checks out the Daily Shot of Penguins. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.